Hi there folks, my name's NovaWing24 and welcome to the NovaWrap, your one-stop location for your simulation release news and goings on from the week that was. So here we are on Sunday the 12th of November 2017 for another episode, and yes, I am back, and yes, obviously I did survive my first Olympic distance triathlon, so, or Olympic or standard distance depending on where in the parts of the world you're from. It was epically amazing. It was just such an amazing experience to be part of the I didn't realize it, but it is the largest until sort of just before the event. It's the largest triathlon of that distance, like of its size, anywhere in the world. There was like 8,500 competitors. It was just an insane day. It was just so amazing, just getting the atmosphere, getting the event done, and it was just an incredible day. It really was. I'm very chuffed with myself that I managed to do the job, as it were, especially considering that, you know, I started the year not being able to even ride a bicycle and never having swum in the ocean. I think I did pretty well, so there you go. Anyway, enough of that waffling. Let's get on to the news for the week, and we're going to jump straight into it with a couple of releases from the guys over at Tabaret. So this is going to be starting with the ESP platforms, but ESP platforms with a difference. So first one we've got from Tabaret is their Island 10-meter mesh. So this one comes out. So Tabaret do sort of, yeah, they're famous for their night lighting and for their meshes is what they do. So this is a map. This is a mesh for the entire of Ireland, which includes the Republic of Ireland as well as Northern Ireland. They haven't discriminated. They put it all together. Coming in at about the average price for them is coming in around about $17 around about 14 euros for theirs. Available from your favorite flight sim retailer. Mesh, for those who aren't quite sure what terrain mesh is. Terrain mesh is how defined mountains are and how pointy they are and how deep valleys are and whether or not you actually get like how accurate the variations in terrain heights are. A lot of it is based on the old shuttle data, SRTM data. But the newer stuff is coming through, coming from other satellite information, as well as locally combined resources and maps as well. But this comes through an incredibly detailed here. So this comes through with 10-meter resolution layers of the terrain, which is actually really it's insanely detailed. Yeah, as I said, if you're a fan of flying an island and sort of wanting to merge this with something like Orbix's Northern Ireland and Ireland, this would be something that would get you most bang for your buck, that's for sure. But yes, looking amazing from these guys. Now this one is available for all of the ESP platforms, including FSX and Prepared in all its glory, as well as of Dovetail Games Flight Sim World, so and Lockheed Martin's Prepared version 4. So I'm sort of starting to separate these. I think we're going to have to start talking about these when we talk about the ESP family, because I'm going to start. I think we start classing Prepared version 4 and FSW as sort of ESP enhanced sort of products, is where we're starting to see real diversion between the ESP platform. The ESP legacy platform titles. Anyway, but yes, so not, as I said, not only do you get all the ESP platform range of FSX and Prepared version 1 through 3, you're also getting compatible versions with Prepared version 4 and Flight Sim World all in the one package. So pretty details, pretty great deal from the guys over at Tabaret for that one. In their other release for this week, now this one is where they've gone with the enhanced ESP platforms only. So this is Tabaret Night 3D version 3 for California, Nevada. So this sort of covering a fairly large chunk of that part of the US. Now it's come through to bringing. They've actually gone and leveraged off a lot of the, particularly for the Prepared users. They've leveraged off a lot of the new lighting effects and introduced a whole heap of their new sort of 3D light bulb effects to actually sort of be able to manage dynamic lighting and bulb and bloom effects to a better degree than they've ever been able to do before, and it's looking quite amazing as well. But what I'm finding really interesting about this as well is the fact that they're also supporting Flight Sim World. Now I know that Flight Sim World's lighting system is very much a work in progress and a development thing, but what this is showing that their work, although the core sim may not have caught up yet, we're seeing some of the things that are going to be coming out for those of us once we get our hands on for those who develop, once other developers start getting their hands onto the SDK, which is still a work in progress, we understand from the guys over at Dovetail. This is some of the things it's going to be capable of. So I think for those who are saying that Prepared sort of, that Flight Sim World were dead, I think you're going to start seeing that now that we're getting a more established sim going, I think things are going to start changing very rapidly. So there you go. So, as I said, this one's coming out available, as I said, is compatible with Lockheed Martin's Prepared version 4 and Dovetail Games Flight Sim World. Coming in, same kind of price that we usually see most Tab Array products for, so about $17 US, about 14-15 euros. Available from your favourite flight sim retailer, available now. Alright, continuing other with ESP platform scenery releases this week. Now, this is ESP platform with a difference again. I just going all over the shop this week. Anyway, this is from the team over at Army Project. So what they've done is they've brought us OOMS. Now, normally OOMS spells is like a phrase that flight simmers really loathe, hate, and detest, but this is one that you may like. So this is Muscat International Airport, formerly Sib International Airport. It is the main international airport into Oman and by the capital of Muscat. So this airport's been done by another developer previously, but this one's come out and I think looks the most detailed. Like, it's spectacularly insane, the detail that's gone into this airport. The actual animations and the actual sort of details gone into all of the jetways that are animated as well, and it's looking really, really incredible. Fully detailed jetways and maps and layouts and taxiways for the airport, matching as it appears at the start of 2017. And so you have just beautiful detail about high resolution buildings, textures looking pretty rad as well as custom ground polys as well. So looking really detailed. Now, what's interesting about this add-on though is that it is officially only for FSX and FS9. So officially it doesn't support Prepared or any of the other sort of newest versions of the ESP platforms. It supports the original and its predecessor. Now, one, cool for those who, I know there are lots of people that still fly FS9, so great that you guys are still being looked after. But as I said, like, as far as FSX detail goes, this looks insanely detailed. This is stuff that I expect to see in Prepared, and yeah, it's been developed for FSX. So it's coming in at about $20 US, the original equivalent coming in available now over at Sim Market. I believe it's a Sim Market exclusive at the moment. But yes, if you are, this is a destination that you wouldn't mind going to, or have thought about, I think is, or if you're an FS9 pilot, then this may be something that you really, really want to look out, because as I said, this one is looking absolutely spectacular and absolutely insanely detailed. So there you go. As I said, coming in around about $20 US, available now from Sim Market. Alrighty, continuing on with the ESP platform range, we're moving into aircraft releases this week. So this one is a little late, but I did want to cover it off because it is one of my it's an aircraft that I just love the idea of. I think it's a cool aircraft. So of course I am talking about the Flight Replica's latest release of their DC-4 or C-54. So this aircraft is just cool. Like, it's basically, Douglas had this idea of the DC-3 is really successful. What happens if we stick 4 engines on it and make the fuselage longer? They did that, and to see what happens. This was the result. Well, the DC-4E was, but then it sort of evolved into this aircraft eventually. Now, this is an absolutely insanely, amazingly detailed guys from the guys at Flight Replicas. Flight Replicas have really gone to town on the detail here. It's just amazing. It's fully highly accurate flight dynamics, including charts and full details of each phase of the flight, based and sounds recorded from the cockpit of a real actual one of the few surviving C-54s around, fully detailed as well. It has 9 highly detailed, highly accurate virtual cockpits, along with 10 different versions of the DC-4 throughout its life, so throughout its lifespan, and throughout the different versions it's done over its life, and the different roles it's had over its life. Fully detailed, working standard and spare autopilots, along with dual navigation radios, ADF radios, transponders, and a 2G GPS for those who would like to slightly cheat with the GPS. It is available. The option is for you there as well. And as I did say, it does have 10 different versions of this aircraft. I said the aircraft it's designed during the late 1930s as, let's see what happens if we like double the engine power of a DC-3. Due to obviously the start of the World War II, the civilian version didn't really sort of go into production much. Instead, it went straight to the military version, which was the C-54 Skymaster, which would equip itself and equate itself very, very well both in all fields, all theaters of war. particularly in the Pacific, and then later on after the war in the Berlin airlift. It was the sort of became the iconic symbol of the airlift with actually the C-54, because there were just so many of them were used during that production, so during that episode of history. It would then go on to serve as into its original role as a civilian airliner. It would then go on to be as a cargo variant in civilian life as well as its military life, a maritime patrol aircraft for the US Navy, VIP aircraft, as I said before. It would also go on to be a firefighting aircraft throughout the world, as well as a few examples, about 20 examples or so, being converted by Carve Air to actually become a vehicle transporter. It had basically a very bulbous front end, which actually would hinge open to the side, had the cockpit in it, would hinge open to the side. A really innovative and interesting sort of way of sort of designing it and getting it done, but it was really, really cool and just amazing how it does. So there you go. And like you said, you get 10 different versions of models, along with 9 accurate VCs. Virtual cockpits are included, including full working service charges. As I said, insanely detailed for this one. Now, the part that I'm not so flash on, and again, was something we're seeing a lot with developers, so it seems to have become almost an accepted standard now, is the way they're breaking down the price pointing. So essentially what they've done, guys, is that they've broken it down into sort of 2 versions. So you have the basic ESP version, which is for FSX Steam Edition, and Lockheed Martin's prepared versions 1 through 3. So that's coming in $43, or alternatively you have an alternative version which supports Lockheed Martin's prepared version 4 only. So no word on support and if they're going to support Flight Sim World at all. But here's the part that I probably disagree with a little bit. Is the fact that they're charging the same price for both, and there's not offering sort of a discount if you do choose to buy both. So that's sort of something that I think possibly I'm starting to have more of an issue with. Is if you are a multi-platform simmer like myself, you're getting no sort of reward for that. You know, you're still purchasing the product, but anyway. Personal issue, that's how it goes. But either way, guys, if you are wanting to pick this one is available direct from Flight Replicas from their website, or alternatively available from your favorite flight sim retailer, available for $42.95 for your preferred version, available now. In other ESP platform aircraft releases this week, the guys over at Carinado, we saw them release their long-awaited PA-42 Cheyenne 3. So this aircraft's kind of interesting, kind of cool. You don't see a lot of them in Australia, so I've never really got up close and personal with one before, but the pictures I've seen, to me, they always remind me a little bit of a baby King Air. Like, they're so cute. They've got these 2 massively overpowered turboprop engines with this tiny little fuselage. Just tiny. So yeah, I've always thought that they're really cute and interesting, and I like Carinado because they do popular and weird. Like, they do both, and they do them very, very well. Now, again, one of the things I like about Carinado as well is that they do a 1 installer, fresh for everything as well, and this one is pretty much no exception. So this is the full ESP range, including a Lockheed Martin's prepared version 4. No sign of them coming over to Flight Sim World as yet, but we can hope for the future. Now, as usual, we do see a full cold and dark startup option, full VC, full highly dynamic, customized, and very detailed flight dynamics, fully dynamic audio set recorded from a real aircraft, fully customizable panel, as well as a full integration with Flight 1 and Reality XP instrumentation, as well as the standard Carinado equipment as well. So full high definition textures as well, looking pretty damn amazing for this one. So I really do think this one is quite impressive. And if I wanted to pick this one up, it's one available now from the Carinado website or your favorite retailer, flight sim retailer, for around about $40 US, or your regional equivalent, available now. And other aircraft releases for the ESP world, the guys over at Iris Simulations. So they haven't had a lot out for quite a while. They've been sort of fairly quiet. They've been very busy on other projects, it seems, but they have released one that they've been alluding to for a while. There's a couple of others they've alluded to that we still haven't seen hide nor hair of, but they have come out one which sort of ambushed everyone. Was a surprise. It's sort of it's gone from sort of initial looks of a couple of months ago to now a full release. So this is their Iris Aviator Series CT4F Akala. This is basically an uprated version of the traditional sort of the CT4 sort of side-by-side trainer aircraft, which has been kicking around for about about 40 years. This airframe could have been. But what they've done essentially is it was actually pitched as part of a Royal Australian Air Force requirement for a new flight training program. Basically, what they did is they Raytheon and Hawk Beechcraft essentially sort of went, hey, we're going to offer you a 2-aircraft solution. We're going to offer you a basic entry-level trainer, which this aircraft was going to do. So it was going to be the CT4 Afakala, uprated engine from the one that the CT4 currently has, and instead of an analog cockpit, it had a full glass cockpit. So basically, they took all the avionics out of a Texan 2, dropped it in a Akala, and just went and just a CT4 and just went bang. There you go. So yeah, really interesting mishmash of technologies here. As far as I'm aware, only 2 were ever produced. They were just converted from CT4s as sort of like demonstrators. Unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the Raytheon and Hawk Beechcraft were not successful in bidding for the tender. So once they were out of the running and they dropped it, and they were sort of the ruling was given over to Pilatus and Lockheed Martin, they've actually sort of then returned these the prototypes of the demo sort of prototype aircraft back to standard CT4 configuration. So an aircraft that had a very brief lifespan, but is now is sort of immortalized forever in the flight simulation world, thanks to the guys at Iris. So yeah, as I said, this is looking pretty cool, very interesting. It's got of course, the guys over at Iris have done a very highly detailed model of the Texan 2 previously, so they've got experience with the avionics. And we've got a custom sound set basically on the actual Lycoming 540 engine that powered the aircraft. Very high definition textures, the full 4096 textures in there, as well as full integration and compatibility with dynamic lighting from Lockheed Martin's prepared version 4. And speaking of which, fully compatible with the full ESP range. So FSX, FSX Steam Edition, and prepared versions 1 through 4 are all supported with one install. So this one's coming in at 30 Australian dollars, so about 25 US dollars or the original equivalent. Available now from the Iris Simulation Store, and most likely coming to another simulation retailer near you, available soon. Alrighty, well that rounds out the ESP platform releases for the week, and let's move on over into the X-Plane world, and we're going to start with with an aircraft release from our friends over at Carinado. So this is their ongoing conversion of their core range over into the X-Plane platform, and they've continued it on with one of their recent releases for the ESP platform, which is of course the Dornier DO228. So this high-winged, whole-wing STOL twin turboprop has been one of their most successful recent releases, and it's a hideously ugly but awesome aircraft. It always reminds me of the Shorts 360. It's like a box with wings. It really is cool. Anyway, but yes, they brought this one over to X-Plane. Now it is available exclusive for X-Plane 11, so it is not compatible with X-Plane 10. Now this is designed, and they've recoded it, re-optimized it, and make sure that it is fully compatible with X-Plane 11, including the engine dynamics, flight dynamics have been redone to actually make sure it's got everything fine, and the ground handling. And they point out that the ground handling has been adapted for X-Plane 11 ground physics, because one of the biggest complaints from the X-Plane community is that the ground physics are just horrific. They really are. But anyway, but yes, they make full use of the PBR lighting and the texture effects, of full integration with that, as long with full integration with the default X-Plane GNS 530 and Reality XP's X-Plane gauges as well. So looking pretty damn awesome, pretty damn cool. Again, they've stayed true to their aim to actually keep it as realistic as they possibly can, and with the full HD liveries included, and X-Plane FMS functionality. So this one is coming in at 38 US dollars, available either direct from the Carinado store or from your favorite flight sim retailer, available now. In other X-Plane 11 aircraft releases this week, the guys over at V Skylabs have sort of moved on to the next iteration, and their first major iteration of their latest project, their Tecnam P2006T project. So this is basically this aircraft's interesting. So it's a high-wing, twin-engined sort of hybrid kind of aircraft. It's not one of theirs. It's not a sort of like It's not a sports light aircraft, it's sort of bigger than that, but it very much leverages off their sort of mindset of keeping things simple. Very simple, basic, easy design. And a very interesting aircraft as well. Funnily enough, NASA actually used it as their basis for their electric aircraft that they're currently testing for the next few years. It started off life as a Tecnam P2006, and then they sort of modified it from there. So yeah, it's a very interesting one. It doesn't have a lot of use outside of Europe though at the moment. But yeah, very interesting. It's a full combination of both an analog and digital cockpit options available, including a Garmin G1000 in the digital glass version. Otherwise, it's a beautiful, highly detailed rendition, including highly accurate sounds, custom highly accurate sound set of the Rotax 912 engines that power the aircraft, as well as all the switches custom and designed for the actual aircraft. Overall, it again takes full advantage of the X-Plane 11 features of engine dynamics and flight dynamics, and all the wonderful funs and the full PBR lighting and texture effects. Now, previously, the early releases of this, so this is sort of like moved from its beta stage into its sort of late beta / public release version now. Which is why I'm sort of bringing it to you guys. But interestingly, with this major version change and this major release, they have determined that they are dropping support for X-Plane 10. So it will, moving forward from this version on, it will be X-Plane 11.1 and greater only. So if any of those out there who are X-Plane 10 users, yeah, unfortunately, guys, you are going to miss out with this new project. So there you go. But otherwise, if you do want to pick this one up, this one's coming in at about $30 US. Available now, either direct from vSkylab's website or from your favorite flight sim retailer. Available now. Alrighty, moving out of that and moving into another flight simulation platform today. So the guys over at Aerofly FS2. So they've come out with another piece of free DLC. So it's interesting. These guys are sort of coming out supporting a bit of mix and a bit of some paid, some free. And this is their latest free one. So this is they've released a version of their version of Colorado. So the viewers who may remember my long ago review of Aerofly FS2, one of the big issues that I had with it was the fact that they're releasing the world in piecemeal bits, and it looked like, especially considering that the first additional area that they unlocked, you had to pay for, that it was going to be, and I must point out that other areas they've released are now, they're sort of mixing and matching here. You're going to have to pay for the rest of the world. I still have an issue with that model, but it seems to be they're bouncing between the two different models at the moment. They haven't quite figured out what they're doing with it, which is interesting, let's just say that. So basically what they've done here is that they've released, but this time around they've released Colorado for free. So this is all highly detailed photoreal scenery for the entire state of Colorado, and including all of the major airports are included and updated with details as well, including Aspen and Telluride as well. So beautiful high-res aerial images are up to 1 meter resolution for the whole of the state. But they do note here, and this is the interesting thing about it here, is that the resolution of the images they're using and the amount that it takes, it does note that it does actually upgrade or increase the minimum specifications required for the actual sim to operate, which is a very interesting thing as well. So could be the sign of things to come. But yeah, so if you said best part is though, as I said, the price is free, so you know you don't lose anything. It's money free if you don't want to do it, but at least you can get access to fly somewhere else now. So if you are wanting to pick this one up, this one is available. Just log into Steam and activate your DLC code or activate the DLC, and it'll download and install in a little bit. So as I said, coming in for the wonderful price of free from the guys at Aerofly. Alrighty, and now moving out of the flight sim world, but sticking with moving on to the ground and sticking with ground transportation. So the guys over at American Truck Simulator, so they've released their next major region, which is the New Mexico region. So essentially, what they've done is they've brought us over 4,000 miles of new in-game roads, including over 14 major cities, including Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and Roswell. They had to include Roswell, didn't they? 11 truck stops are included here. Over 600 new 3D assets have been included as well. Fully compatible with Steam Workshop scenarios as well for those wanting to make them. 8 new company docs and industries have been included for those wanting to expand their empire. And a whole heap of new achievements and beautiful renditions of some of the most iconic natural landmarks for that part of the world have included as well. So if you are looking at expanding your trucking empire in American Truck Simulator, this is going to be a great one for you. I must admit, reasonably priced as well. So coming in just $12 for this one. You're getting a fair bit of bang for your buck as well, so that's pretty cool from these guys. So yeah, if you're wanting to expand your American Truck Simulator experience, you can do so now for $12, just available now on Steam. And sticking out ground level with another trucking sim. So this is a sim that I think is sort of daring to try and take on the I don't know. Do we say the monopoly that SCS Software have? So this is called Transroad USA. Now this is interesting because this sim seems to lean more heavily on the business side rather than the truck driving side. Now, interestingly enough, this particular title is made by the same guys that actually brought us Transport Fever. And another transport management sim that I can't remember, the name escapes me at the moment. Yeah, so this is interesting. As I said, it takes more of the business aspects of it. You can do the truck driving, but it's more of a third-person view rather than a first-person view. So this is more about actually starting a logistics company, starting a trucking company, building it up, taking over others, building up reputation with clients and things like that. So yeah, far more into the business side and the background side. It's simulating that more than it is simulating the truck side. But yeah, it is a full map of the United States. You can mix and match and purchase 7 different trailer types, as well as different, you can maintain a huge fleet of customized and licensed vehicles for this one as well. 37 cities, 19 famous landmarks to include as well, and you can go all the way out from a full map of the US all the way down to an individual truck as driving along. So kind of cool, kind of interesting. The company management, the economic model looks kind of interesting as well. So it's claiming to be fairly detailed, and also will throw random events in there as well, which is also very interesting too. So here that goes. So if you are more into the management side of things, then this may be one for you to look at. As I said, Transroad USA coming in normally $25 on Steam, coming in launch special at the moment, 15% off, so coming in around about 22. Available now on Steam. And rounding out the simulation news for this week, continuing on with the management vein, we saw the release of Football Manager 2018. Sometimes I wonder how these franchises keep going, particularly charging the amount of money that they do all the time. Anyway, okay, so Football Manager 2018, it's pretty much 2017. I'm not really going to go much into it, but they do have a few things here. And by the way, for those who are wondering, football, we are talking about what some people call soccer. That's the kind of football we're talking about here. So it includes over 50 countries and over 2,500 clubs are included, with over 600,000 players and staff have been licensed and modeled and put into the sim. That is batshit insane how much data is in there. But as I said, it is a full dynamic, it's got a full dynamic modeling of the actual staff and player interaction, both on the pitch and off the pitch, which is kind of interesting as well. I'm not sure how that would go. It's got a scouting system, it's got media interaction, it's got a sports science add-on sort of interplay as well. So we actually look at how injuries impact your individual player's performance as well as the team performance. Updated tactics engine, intelligence engine, a few other things as well. Supposedly an updated graphics engine for actual sort of match day modeling as well. Don't think it's that flash, but anyway, but yes, that is modeled there. As I said, otherwise this is primarily, as I said, it's about the backroom management side of thing as well. Now here's the other interesting thing as well. This actually comes out as Football Manager 2018, which is the full-fledged everything sim. There is also Football Manager Touch 2018, which is basically, it should just be called Football Manager 2018 Lite. Basically, it cuts out the match day thing. It puts in an instant, an instant sort of result sort of thing for when you go play your games. It strips out a lot of the nitty gritty details and focuses on just sort of high level, sort of top level gameplay. Now, the one thing I sort of have mixed feelings about this, because basically this is a Okay. So the core Football Manager title, that's $60. $5 if you want the in-game editor. Why it's not free and included, I don't know. But anyway, moving on. Football Manager Touch or Football Manager Lite, that's $20. But if you want all the stuff, then you got to pay an extra $40 for all the in-game purchases, which quite frankly I think is bullshit. Anyway, what I do approve of, however, is if you do pick up the full Football Manager 2018, the full-blooded one, you get a full copy, and it looks like all of the DLC. Don't quote me on that one, because I find a couple of references to it, but I can't find a guarantee on this one, that you get the Football Manager Touch included as well, and possibly, as I said, possibly looks like you get the all the in-game purchase bullshit as well. So, and if that is the case, if you not only get the Football Manager Lite, but you also get all the in-game purchase bullshit included as well, then I must say that Sports Interactive and Sega, I do approve. Well done. If you only put the Touch Lite in and don't put all the bullshit in-game purchases in, then shame on you and go back, because that's just wrong. I just think that that's just money gouging. It really is. Like, it's content that should be part of it. It's like, literally, I'm looking at it, it's like all job applications, all interested players. Like, I'm sorry, that's not just a cosmetic thing to something else, which I'm okay with paying for. It's core parts of the freaking sim. Like, no, you should not have to, that should not be a pay-per-win thing. So, anyway, as I said, if you are into your football management simulators, you probably already got this, but if you don't and you think about it, as I said, just pick and choose your version wisely, maybe do some research, have a look at the reviews if it's for you. As I said, but core titles, if you buy them, as I said, the core title 2018 is coming in at $60 available now on Steam. If you go straight, if you're going only for the touch version, you're looking at $20 for the core title, plus an extra $40 for all the in-game purchases if you get it. The other good thing that they have done though is they do offer a fully functional demo of both versions available from Steam if you do want to give it a try before you buy. So at least well done on that. Alright, there you go. That does now wrap up the release news for this week and the NovaWrap. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.